So this is how one of my friends mistreated me into paying for a service I thought was for free, and I'm going to teach you this one particular lesson that I learned from it. I had asked one of my buddies about 2 to 3 years ago to do me a design for a T-shirt printing, because at the time I was still running a T-shirt printing business, and the idea was actually for me to ask him because I knew he had skills in graphics, and he was meant to just do a small design for a birthday party. But then, because he was my friend, I thought that he was doing me a favor. At the end of the day, I was going to pay, or I was going to make money from this service or the T-shirt that I was going to print, and I was going to give him something. But what later happened was a big learning opportunity for me that I didn't even realize that I needed to learn that lesson. So after the design was made, my friend then sent me an invoice over WhatsApp saying how much it costed him in designing that piece of art that was gonna go on the T-shirt, right? And to my surprise, I had no choice but to pay it out. The worst part about this experience was that the design that he made for me costed more than the output, or should I say, costed more than the shirt that I was selling and the printing and everything else that I was gonna do afterwards. So what basically ended up happening was that I ended up paying for everything myself, even though I sold this T-shirt to my client with the design that my friend made for me. I ended up making such a big loss. The lesson behind this is that whatever skills you may have, or whatever job that may come your way, that may seem like it's just something that you're doing for someone because it's a favor, never underestimate the power of sending invoices. The reason why I'm saying this is because when you send an invoice, it shows a level of respect to the work that you're doing. It shows a level of, no, professionalism. Me assuming that my friend was gonna do this for me as a favor was my biggest mistake, because at the end of the day, I should have never underestimated his skills of using graphics to design artwork. I underestimated his skills to basically design, and I was going to pay him a small amount compared to what he charged me because unexpectedly he was my friend. But out of all of this entire experience, I learned one particular strong skill that I should never probably underestimate again, and I'm sharing this with you guys so that you guys can learn from this. Don't ever underestimate the power of sending an invoice, no matter what you do. If you feel that it took your time, it took your energy, and it took basically a lot of output with the job itself, never underestimate the power of sending an invoice, because a lot could come out of that. Why am I saying this? Because a lot of people, especially today in our society, we have very skillful minded people who tend to take lightly what they can do, and they take lightly the work that they're doing for others. And for the most part, this is where people come up with phrases such as, aren't you going to give me a family and friends price, or aren't you going to do this for me as a favor? Meanwhile, whatever you do for them, it ends up benefiting them more, because whatever they're going to use as service, the product that you're selling them, if they go and they sell and resell that product, it makes them more money, and then you end up being at a loss. I used to have like this whole printing T-shirt business where I would print T-shirts, right? And I didn't know how to do the graphics. Eventually, I got to a point where I had to learn how to do the graphics myself for the business itself, so that I could keep it running. But it got so tiring because I had to learn how to do graphics. However, if I had to collaborate with some of my friends who knew graphics, like the one that I've just given you an example of, life would have been so much easier if only I considered him as a business partner and not just as a friend. Because the worst part of this entire experience is our friendship went sour from that day onwards, due to lack of understanding, lack of knowing, and lack of undermining a person's skills. I didn't want him to feel like I was undermining his skills. I just considered him as a friend, and I thought I was asking a favor from a friend, but it ended up being him charging me, and even charging me more than what I was making from this entire just sale that I was going to make for this t-shirt. If you are not sure of how to send invoices to people, whether you're doing a favor or you're just doing them something, never doubt how powerful it is to send that invoice, because you never know who's going to end up paying you and who's going to end up just using you for your skills that you have. It's not a bad habit to send an invoice. Get into the habit of actually sending invoices to people, no matter what the service is. If, for instance, you did something and it took you your time and energy and effort, send an invoice, even if it's a WhatsApp message saying, "Hey, bro, I just want to let you know that what I'm doing right now is going to cost me, let's say, it took me 1 hour and I charge 100 per hour. I just wanted to let you know that it took me 1 hour." It is not a way of asking money or being greedy. It is just a way of excusing yourself from the fact that this is a skill that you learned, your time and energy went into it, and you don't want to be bamboozled by it. All right.